Peace, peace, peace. Mind Ascension here. I want to say peace to the 6 to 22 strand, 7 to 9 ether, selenium, you melanin dominant black gods of this planet. I'm here with my young brother, top student, young neophyte, Black Light Order. And we just came from a great round table. I didn't tape it. I didn't tape this one. It's more of a private aspect with the order and the brotherhood. But we did a great build tonight, and the subject came up about being God and why we use the term we are gods. Some time ago, in another page comments, and someone had tagged me in, one of the religious-minded humans or humanoids was speaking on the concept of why are we saying we are gods? We're not gods. We shouldn't use that term. We think we're superior, blah, 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 all of this type of stuff. And in this video, I want to get into the anatomical, the biological, the neurological, the historical, and the metaphysical reasons, proof, evidence of why we have the right and completely justified to use that term, that we are gods. The black woman, the feminine black woman to be specific, is our God. The masculine black man is the son of God, and therefore he is a god. Now, let's just go into immediately. Let's first start with the fact that a god has no age. A god is a form of immortality and the symbolism of mortality and forever living youth. Number one, archaeological evidence and fact has already proven that we are the oldest people on this planet. Now, if we're going to stick to the box of only minuscule and limited European science, we can deal with the Bantu or the Twa people being of 200,000 years of genetic lineage and all of that, but we should understand that we're by far even older than that. And the way that we know that this is a fact is because, number one, the so-called European, who is a derivative or who is the child of mankind or mankind within itself based on the sixth ether aspect, they are only 10,000 years old based on their phenotype. The blue eye did not exist in the Mediterranean area of European geography until about 10,000, 15,000 years ago maximum. Number two, we also have to understand that the Neanderthal, or what we refer to as the Neanderthal, which this European Cro-Magnon into Indo-European comes from, is not even as old as you are as a Homo sapien. Okay? So when we talk about being God, we're talking about being the oldest. We're talking about having no age. We're talking about the symbolic aspect of immortality. Understand that there's archaeological evidence showing footprints that go back millions of years. There's archaeological evidence of forms of civilizations that are remnants found in Africa that go back at least I did a post on this. I believe at least 500,000 years or 200,000 years. One of those. I have to go back. But basically, we're going into hundreds of thousands of years of these civilizations. That's just a fact.
Which is far older than the Bible, which
far
is
older
6,000.
than your 6,000 year box. But we're not even going there. This is Mind Ascension. Yeah, we don't even have to talk on that level. Then also, we should also understand that we were walking this planet, walking upon this earth, before the lands themselves even separated. So if we want to claim a land, claim Pangea, claim Gondwana. Because if you want to claim a nation or claim a land, understand that you are older than Africa. You are older than Amexum, America, Turtle Island, Ancalia, Atlan. All of these different names you want to call out based on where you choose to stop in your cycles of history, which is just building another box for yourself. Because whether I stop within a 500-year time span and want to speak about legalities and structures of law and so on and so forth and nationality like a Moor, that's a box. Whether I want to stop in Kemet and want to stick to only Egyptian history and hieroglyphs and records and so on and so forth, that's a box. Because we are older than all of those aspects and those civilizations. There's the Zing Empire, Z-I-N-G-H. The Zing Empire goes back to 20,000 BC, which is technically older than Kemet, even though records in Kemet show a 30,000 year age, but that's a whole nother subject. If you get the scrolls of Manetho, you'll go into that. The bottom line is, one aspect of being a god is immortality and no age. We are the oldest people on this planet by fact, not by opinion. Number two, we are the representatives in the symbolic aspect, living beings of immortality. Even at the low dirt bottom rate that we're living, breathing this poisonous toxic air, drinking poisonous toxic water, eating poisonous toxic foods, then putting extra poisons in our body, cigarettes, drugs, medication, so on and so forth. And yet we are still living much higher quality than white people. We still look way younger than white people. We are in our 50s and our 60s looking half our age when they turn 30 and look like they're about to die. This is the symbolic evidence that we possess something genetically that is so divine, it keeps or encapsulate our youth as walking organisms and beings, making us in one type of level, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, a form of immortality, a form of everlasting youth. That's another reason that you are God. Let's go into the anatomical aspect. You are the only race and being on this earth that within your blood you possess high elements and high quantities of iron. Number two, you have the greatest bone density in your body than any other race. This is what makes you heal faster. This is what allows you to be so highly athletic to where you can jump higher, you can run faster, you can do so many things because the density of your structure creates more strength in your structure, more resistance in your structure. The iron in your blood alone carries oxygen and circulates around your body, which gives stimulation to your muscles. The melanin in your body allows your scars in your body to heal faster. We are the only race that possesses what they refer to as keloids, which is usually a form of extra growth of human tissue that grows over a scar, but it grows in such a stimulating aspect, an excessive aspect. It's almost like you're growing an extra limb where you were cut or where you were damaged. Why? Because there's something inside your structure, inside your genetics, that actually has not only the ability to heal itself, but the ability to regenerate yourself. And these keloids, these scarifications, that if you notice, when you see a black person who seems to get what they call in street terms or jail terms, buck 50, which is a slice on the face, their scar bubbles up. But if you see a white person, it does the opposite. It's an indentation. It goes inside. But our scar bubbles up on our skin. That's the keloid effect, because the melanin in your body is actually trying to regenerate not only the skin that was removed due to the damage, but it's actually trying to regenerate your entire face. And the reason why it's doing that is because that is a remnant, that is the leftover evidence and ability of you to regrow your limbs. There's even something called polydactyl. Polydactyl, P-O-L-Y-D-A-C-T-Y-L. What is polydactyl? It's the fact that melanin dominant people have the ability to grow extra parts of their body. If you look that word up, you'll see Halle Berry is one of them. She has a sixth toe. You'll see some women have a sixth finger. Now, of course, we'll look at this as oddities or disformities, but see, something that's disformed is technically missing something, not adding something. You see what I'm saying? And I don't know if some of y'all remember, some time ago, I did a post showing a woman that was found on the moon and she had 6 fingers. You see what I'm saying? Because we have to understand, the black man and black woman is an hybrid creation of higher species. So your genetics are actually the genetics of higher black beings within this galaxy that have breeded you in an aspect of hybridism, and you were seeded upon this planet. This is why in your blood, Elijah Muhammad said that you go back 76 trillion years. The earth is only supposedly 5.4 billion years old. So this means you're older than the earth. God. All right? So these abilities we have to regenerate skin cells, heal faster than any other race, move, jump, run faster than any other race, comes from our genetic divine abilities within our blood and genes. comes from the melanin that is the same melanin within the universe. Now, here we go to the neurological aspect. You are the only race with 12 melanin centers upon your brainstem. That's almost like having a solar system in your head. The 12 zodiac signs, the 12 gates, the 12 celestials. This is in your brain. This is on the stem of your middle brain. White people only have 2 to 4 maximum. You have a larger middle brain than white people. White people have a larger reptilian brain, which is at the back or close to the medulla oblongata. You see what I'm saying? Which is why they have a higher fight or flight aspect than we do. Which is why they have such a adrenaline-based survival instinct / attack you before they do anything aspect to themselves. You don't have that. You see? Because you are the purest form of human and you are the highest form of divinity upon this plane. Your neurons within your brain, which if you study the 3 types of melanin, you have eumelanin, you have neuromelanin, and then you have theomelanin. These are the 3 types of melanin. Neuromelanin is the melanin that allows the neurons in your brain to send messages and transmit information 10 times faster than any other race because it's full and engulfed in that melanin. Other races have the melanin, have the neuromelanin, because you can't be alive without it. Everything has melanin. You see, that's because melanin is everything. But there are different levels and degrees of that melanin. You are the one with the most degree of that melanin, and you are the one with the melanin that's identical to the melanin of the solar system and celestial bodies of what we refer to as the universe or the omniverse. God. Okay? You think faster. Your left and your right hemisphere connect faster than any other race. All of this stuff I'm saying you can look up and you can research yourself, and it's the truth. You hear tones and notes that other races can't hear. Why do you feel, I've said this numerous times, you go all around the world and you study the music of multiple cultures and races, you will notice that the highly melanated races always have deep basses within their songs. Go to places like China, go to places in Europe, they do not have music with bass and rhythm because they can't hear it and they can't feel it. Okay? You hear differently. You hear higher tones. You hear a more broader range of tones than any other race. You see broader ranges of color than any other race. I did a post some time ago that said that the black woman, or they say women, but it's the black woman, sees a broader scope of what you call isotopes, I believe, or what's the cones that allows your iris to see. But basically, her eye sees a broader scope of colors. And Black Light Order did a post showing that women will see all different endless degrees of colors while men only see the 7 or 8 basic colors. She sees lavender, we see purple. She sees plum, we see purple. You see what I'm saying? Because this is more proof. What is God? God sees all. God hears all. You see what I'm saying? You are God.
And then I just wanted to add, since you were talking the quote unquote 5 senses, you mentioned the auditory aspect, the visual aspect, and there's also the tonal aspect, because we have more access to speak in different tones.
Yes.
Where white people have pretty much only one. They only speak in one tone.
Yes. Thank you, my brother. Your vocal cords are not designed like any other race. You have the ability to go different range of tonal aspects, which, by the way, if you know, this is why they love giving us English, because English is a dead language. This is why you have so many silent letters in English, because it's dead. But if you notice, when you look at real Africans that grew up in Africa, grew up speaking African languages, look at their temples. Look at their temples. See, our temples are indentated. Their temples are bulbous. Why? Because the tones in the language that they speak, all these different tones that vibrate the chest plate and then send the signal to the left and the right brain to connect each other, and then over the years, the size of their head becomes swollen. That's why if you look at certain Africans, they look swollen. Their heads look swollen. You see what I'm saying? Because that bridging the gap between the left and the right brain begins to fuse into one due to the languages. And that's why the true African or the true indigenous person didn't see a difference between the physical and the spiritual. They were one all the time. Just like we are here in this physical body to experience the physical, to know that it's no different from the spiritual. That's the point of your existence. I hear so many people talk about we're humans, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, but you're not explaining why. Because there's a reason why different parts of your body have a concentration of sensations and nerve endings than another part of your body. There's a reason why that certain part of your body with a concentration of nerve endings and meridian channels are also aligned with your chakra system and your endocrine system. And when you stimulate these spots and these sensations on your body through either sexuality, through either massage, through either tantric practices, you raise a physical fire within your body that raises from the root to the crown, opening up that crown to experience the spiritual spectrum. So it's the physical merging with the spiritual, which makes you God within body. And this is why we have to stop judging certain things and certain activities and practices, because there is a reason why Mother Nature has designed the nape of your neck to be more sensitive than your elbow, has designed your nipples to be more sensitive than your belly button, has designed your lower back where your spine and your anus meet to be the most sensitive part of your body, has designed certain parts of your body to be so sensitive that when it's stimulated, it sends an energy flux through your body. And depending on your intentions, depending on your health, you can concentrate that energy and open up the crown. These things are not accidents. These things are not coincidences. What else can I go into? Now, I want to also go into the aspect of this concept that I heard a brother say, when you call yourself God, you think you're superior and blah, blah, blah. Number one, we are fucking superior. Yes, we fucking are.
That's right.
And as I was explaining to the brother tonight, we have to understand that, number one, calling yourself God comes with a responsibility. Calling yourself God comes with a function and purpose. Because when I call myself God in order to be the example of the spiritual representation and a divine symbol of what a God is to be. I don't put certain things in my body. I don't speak a certain way about myself or about others. I carry myself and think in a certain aspect that makes everything a ceremony, that makes everything a ritual, that makes everything divine. I walk and live in tune with the elements in nature around me. See, I can't call you or myself God unless I am living as a divine being. This is why I'm always telling y'all that a God is what? A servant and a scientist. So how do you take me calling us gods? Because I don't say I'm God. I say we are gods. And your religious mind goes, oh, you think you're superior. Calling yourself God is arrogant, da-da-da. No, calling you a God means I'm actually holding you accountable to your divine creation, purpose, function, and responsibility. Because when I call you God and I give you that title, I give you that title based on what I expect from you. Because being a God doesn't mean you smoking crack. Being a God don't mean you eating a motherfucking cheeseburger every day. Being a God doesn't mean that you dwell on your struggles and dwell on your lack. Being a God doesn't mean you accumulate a bunch of shit that you don't need. Being a God is being a scientist and a servant to all things in existence. I am a servant to the roach, and I am also a servant to the woman. I am a scientist because I see the elements around me as something for me to utilize and manipulate in order to manifest and to create. That's another thing I want to get into. Why are we gods? Because we are the highest form of manifestors out of all races. We think something and it immediately comes into fruition, especially our women. We are manifestors. We are creators. We are enchantresses. We are sorcerers. We are the ones who created the occult sciences. We are the ones who created witchcraft. White people didn't do that. How are you going to create something when you're trying to survive? How you have time to realize, manipulate elements, and see the consequences of the results in order to record them and to create an order called the craft. When you out there trying to chase a fucking rodent and a rat to eat it so you can survive. They didn't create any of that. You created that. You are the occultist. You are the botanist. You are the scientist. These things came with a peaceful existence that you can sit down, map the stars, and create astronomy. Where you can sit down, put the elements together, and create chemistry. That's God. Isn't God a creator? Isn't God a destroyer? That is what makes you God. The ability to manifest, the ability to create. So when I call you God, I call you God giving you a responsibility. I call you God holding you to a certain standard that you will have to live by. And when you don't live by, now you're a male. Now you're a female. You ain't even a man or a woman, because that's another standard that you have to live by in order to be that. First you are a man, then you are a king, then you are God. You see what I'm saying? And this is why we have to redefine these titles and these definitions for ourselves, not by what has been defined for us by our captors. We are the oldest people on this planet. We think faster than anybody on this planet. We manifest faster than anybody on this planet. Our entire body, our organs, our bones, everything about our structure and physical existence is at such a superior quality level. Everybody in the world is chopping us into pieces and selling us off left and right. That's not divine? Your ass is so divine, they take your blood, they take your doo-doo, they take your limbs, they take your placenta, they take your brain, they take your bone stem, they take everything from you. So you mean to tell me you not divine? There's something about you that the whole world knows is superior that they want to use for themselves. And that's the evidence that lets you know that you're God.
I'm not gonna lie, doesn't seem like you have a lot of memory left, like only about a minute and a half.
So it's about to shut down?
Yeah, it seems like it.
All right. Either way, in summation, I guess that what that means. My good brother letting me know. I call you gods because you are the physical and symbolic representation of divinity. You are the oldest people of this planet. God has no age. Did it stop? You are the oldest people of this planet, and God has no age. You hear all tones. You see all colors. Why? Because you are the creation and you are the origin of all things. Therefore, you see all the spectrums of all things in existence. God. I call you God because you are the highest manifestors on this plane. You created all forms of occultism, all forms of magic, all forms of ritual, all forms of physical representations of divinity as a living practice. God. I call you God to live up to a standard of divinity, to make everything you do a ritual, to make everything you do divine, to treat your body instead of a physical body, but as a divine vessel.
20 seconds.
Mind Ascension, we are gods. Subscribe, comment, share. I'm out.
That's